Afie, welcome to Q.
Thanks so much. Nice to be here.
Nice to be. It's our first time together on the show.
Damn straight. Where were you, man? You got rid of my theme song. I'm not happy.
I know. Well, that was intentional on my part. I said, I'm coming in. I'm blowing Afie's theme song out of the water.
We'll get another crack at it.
We'll get another shot. Listen, this is really special because we're not just going to listen to some of the tracks off the record. We're actually going to premiere some of the songs off the record.
Nice.
And before we do, though, I want to ask how you're feeling. How are you feeling leading up to this release?
Great. I'm a little tired. Just got back from New Zealand and Australia. And, jump right back into the life at home. It's the holidays. Lots going on.
But you're not the kind of person who is stressed out about a record coming out, how people are going to receive it?
No, I'm quite confident that it's a very good product, and there's nothing else like it on the market. And I'm anticipating incredible sales.
Oh, come on.
I mean, I loved making it. I mean, if we're just going to jump into it, I had a lot of fun making it, and I think it's a very, very strong record.
I'm sorry. I don't want to jump into anything.
Yeah.
I love this answer.
Yeah.
Because so many of the answers I get are like, I don't know.
Listen, I'm not trying to make the number 2 record. I'm trying to make the best record I can. So I'm looking forward to going on tour. And, we've been playing a lot of the new songs live, and people seem to already know them, which I guess is just like YouTube and, that sort of thing. So it's very promising. People are singing along and sort of already seems like they're responding to it. So that's as a performer, that's a nice place to be.
I want to point out he's wearing a Jay-Z shirt while he's saying this, so this all makes a lot of sense to me. I don't want to be the number 2. Mm-hmm. I'm a little surprised because I heard that when you were getting ready to make it, you were feeling a little bit uninspired.
I think I was just tired. And
tired from what?
Tired from just like all of my adult life being sort of this constant loop of recording, all the obvious stuff that musicians probably say when they come in here. You just record and then go on tour and then record and go on tour and you just get tired. I mean, my first daughter was born then, and I just felt like I had a ton of things on the go. And it feels like when you come off the road, you're only really coming off for the purposes of writing another record.
Yeah.
And in just a really obvious way, I was just kind of tired, and it felt like my ideas were tired.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. If you don't get to live life, what are you going to write about?
Yeah, exactly. And I think there's enough people working on sort of road albums and singing about that sort of stuff. So I might have 1 or 2 of those songs, but for the most part, I stay away from that.
So I'm going to play you a clip right now, and I think I want you to tell me how this clip is important in terms of you getting out of being a bit uninspired.
Mm. Man, that sounds fresh to me.
Who's that, and why? What do the musicians in that song have to do with you?
Well, I mean, that's a D'Angelo song from like 20 years ago or something, and the fact that you can play 20 seconds of that and it sounds modern and relevant now is super inspiring to me, and basically the reason why I wanted to work with those guys.
So you worked with D'Angelo's band on this?
Yeah, I mean, the people who played on those records in the studio, and I mean, they've played on a ton of other records. I mean, but that one, that music I'm super familiar with. So, there's just sort of an energy to it that's timeless, and I think that was the idea, the inspiration, and the motivation for working with those guys is basically to try and make a record that's free of genre, free of time, free of, you know what I mean? Like, yeah. That's what I like about that music is you can listen to it whenever. It's like, it's relevant to whenever you're listening to it.
Was that part of what snapped you out of the?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just the fact that those guys were available and seemingly excited. We'd sent them some other music and some demos and stuff, and they were available and into it. So, that sort of just fired me up to write more songs and finish some other songs that I had kind of left by the wayside. So, and then once I had that idea in mind of the sound and of those players, then just the songwriting kind of just got easier all of a sudden, which was really cool.
Well, you could write for that band in some ways.
Yeah, I mean, in some cases, I just wrote lyrics and melody, and I didn't bother to figure out the chords because I just thought, like, well, those guys are going to come up with cool ideas. So I
Right.
just went to the studio and I just sat behind the drum kit and kind of sang a track out into the air and said, well, I think it should be in the letter A, and that would be a good place to start. And beyond that, just do whatever you want.
Do they work quick? Are they like Nashville
Super
guys
quick.
who
Super
just
quick.
knock it out?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any experience with Nashville,
But you know what I mean?
Yes,
There's that
I do.
story
Yeah.
of Nashville.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, for sure. Just a level of proficiency and confidence that's like on another level. I mean, the drummer, James, was, he said that he had come from a Lady Gaga session, and before that he was on a Keith Urban session, and obviously he's doing a D'Angelo session. Like, that's exciting for me. And I mean, even the people that are in my touring band, I feel they share those qualities where it's just, it's just music rather than being like, I'm a rock drummer or I'm a funk bass player. It's like just being able to play music, whatever it is, at the highest level is always inspiring to be around.
It's just music. I want to hold on to that because I have another question about that for you a little bit later. But first, I want to bring up that you mentioned like on YouTube and I was going to say on radio, but it's Spotify and Apple Music. Let's be honest, and on YouTube, people were hearing your single with Way with Words, and then Taylor Swift names it her 4th most listened to song of the year.
Afie.
Yeah. Afie. What is that about?
I don't know.
That's great.
Yeah, that's great.
How did you react to hearing that?
It's good. I was in Australia, probably like, fishing or something, doing something fun. It'd nice to get a text message that Taylor Swift is into the tunes. If she wants to do a direct message to her 100 million followers to encourage them.
Well, she did.
Did she?
I mean, but by
great.
putting it on that list and putting it public, she did.
Is that how it works? Well, I haven't got the check yet, but I hope it sort of translates. I'm looking forward to moving to Rosedale and never talking to you guys ever again. And just
we'll
getting
miss
all
you.
new friends. and
We'll
everything.
miss you. We'll miss you so much.
Yeah.
I had
it's fantastic. Of course. I mean, it's cool to have support of all kinds. So, that's a very visible endorsement, and that helps the record a lot.
But in addition to being like, I don't want to spend my whole time talking about Taylor Swift here, but
I do.
In addition to being one of the most famous people in the world, she's also an incredibly gifted songwriter. Like the likes of which I've seen very, very rarely. Like that has to feel outside of the, I hope she tweets it out to her 100 million things. Like this is someone who knows good music.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
I think it's cool.
It is cool. It is cool, and if she needs us to come on tour with her, we're available. It's it's fine.
Well, you have one of the best guitar players in the world in your band right now.
Dang straight.
Christine Bougie.
Yeah, she's all over the record.
Taylor's going to poach her so bad.
That's the danger. I'm going to have to put a little pipe and drape up around her and just keep her in my own little world.
If you're just tuning in, my name's Tom Power. This is Q. I'm speaking with Afie Jurvanen, also known as Bahamas. We're about to debut some tracks off his new record, Earthtones.
I like the way you say it with a question mark. There isn't a question mark at the end for the listeners. It's it's just Earthtones.
I had this moment.
But I kind of like that. If we have time, maybe we should redo the artwork.
I had this moment where I went, God, it's not called Earthbound, is it? I said, no, Earth.
Love it.
Nailed it.
Yeah.
Let's hear some new music.
Well, I know it isn't me that the people came to see, but don't feel bad. 'Cause we're the opening act, and yes, the place is packed, and so I'm glad. 'Cause it wasn't long ago I wasn't offered a show of any kind. So now I try and say yes, even if it's not the best. For me, that's fine. Why are you treating me like a stranger? Why are you punishing me with your love? Why are you running from me like I was danger? Is my music not good enough?
That's the opening act, the Shooby Dooby song from Bahamas' new record, Earthtones.
I like that. I like it.
So what's that song about?
That song is like a subversive critique of the state of affairs that the music industry's in, and perhaps a big part of my life is opening up for other bands. We get to do a bit of everything, which is nice. And for the most part, I really like that position because you're just kind of the underdog. Nobody knows who you are.
You got to win them over.
And you can play whatever you want, and it's a wonderful opportunity to experiment. And you can play new songs and you can do all kinds of things. But sometimes you're like playing, a festival and Jamiroquai is headlining and you're playing at 3 p.m. and there's just like dudes in the front row who are like on Jamiroquai.com, like waiting for that show to begin. And just that, sometimes that interaction as a performer, can sort of sour you a little bit. Anyway, so I probably just wrote those first verses kind of with that in mind. But yeah, I think it's just kind of like, it's a critique and a celebration, I guess, of where we're at.
Well, there's also a great line. I'm trying to remember what it is, but it's something along the lines of like, don't blame me for the internet.
The line is, now that music is free and you can't blame me, blame the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's just fun with words, that's sort of been part of my writing for a long time, is just trying to find cool ways to put the words together, and, it sounds cool.
Does this feel like more of a rhythm and blues record than the past for you? It
definitely feels funkier, I know that's sort of a taboo word for some people in the indie rock community, not that, observe those rules all that much these days.
Funky's out?
Well, I just find some of the times the musicians that I play with, if I say the word funky, they kind of approach it from like a humorous standpoint. It's sort of, you know what I mean? So that was part of the motivation for going and working with those other guys, because I didn't even have to say that. I just started playing the track, and their instincts would just lead them into that path. I mean, you heard it on the drum intro there, and just kind of the feel of the bass and the drums, So, yeah, it just feels, after playing a lot of live shows and big shows and small shows, it's nice to be able to have like a bunch of songs that sort of immediately make your head go like this. That was something I was trying to do with a lot of the tracks, is just kind of make it so you're nodding your head.
It's funny to hear. It's funny to hear you say that. When I don't want to say funky to the indie rock crowd, because that's a bit of a word for them. But then you said something like, "But I don't really think about that anyway." That's what I heard on this record. I felt, if you don't mind me saying so, I felt very unself-conscious Bahamas on this record.
Yeah. Well, I try and keep that with all the records, but definitely just that's
not that I thought you were self-conscious.
No, I'm just progressing more and more towards that place. There's just so much effort that gets put into sort of being presentable, and artists work on being presentable, and labels especially will try and package artists and present them in a certain way, and publicists and the media and all these other things. And obviously, social media is a huge influencer now. And what are you looking at? You're looking at pictures of beautiful, people and curated meals and all these curated experiences. And so more and more, I just try and live my life in some sort of, like, I woke up this morning, I got this zit on my face. Guess what? That sucks, but I'm not going to cancel the interview. I'm coming in here. You got your cameras all set up. Look at it, folks. This is real life.
Andrew, if you could zoom in, that'd be great. Just to get it in
so
there.
Anyway. So
no, but I know what you're saying. Jokes aside, I know what you're saying.
So try and have the music be that way too, and it seems to me like people are responding to it. It's not veiled in some mystery or sort of lyrical illusions. It's just the state of union, as far as I'm concerned.
And I think audiences, and I think we like it when we hear an artist make the music that they want to make, kind of unfettered.
Yeah, for sure. A lot of the musicians I like, that's what I respond to about Neil Young or something. The way he's able to just deliver a lyric, and it's just so simple and so powerful, and you don't have to wonder what it's about. It's just sort of, it connects with you right away.
Let's listen to another track. This is No Expectation.
With no explanation, life can be sweet. I've no expectations, but please just stay with me. With all that we're given, we have all that we need. A life that's worth living is just just some mouth to feed. Must be some truth in this. There must be some joy and bliss. To only have one first kiss. Was it ever meant to be? If committing to me feels like committing a crime.
Bahamas with the song No Expectations from his new record Earthtones. Afie or Bahamas. And he and I are listening to some of these songs for me for the first time. But by the way you were listening to it, you did something different on that track. You kind of looked at the table with your eyes closed and nodded your head, and I felt like you haven't heard it in a while.
Yeah, well, I haven't. It sounded good.
What
to
do you
me.
hear? But I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. It sounds great.
Yeah, it's
Like,
well
it sounds-
produced. Robbie Lackritz, he's on the other side of the glass. It's his birthday today, and it might have been yesterday. I always get it mixed up. Anyway, is it today? Oh man, fantastic. Yeah, what do I think when I hear that? I mean, it just feels good right away. Like I said, I want to have that, nod in your head kind of thing. Obviously, I was sort of grooving to high on my own supply there for a second, but yeah, that song was one of the first ones I wrote for this album and for this new batch of tunes. I had a tough day with one of my kids at home, and I just I was sort of lamenting the loss of time, because I used to just sit and play guitar for hours and hours, and that's how I would get music, is basically play for 5 hours and you might get 20 minutes of something really special. And that has completely changed in the last several years. So now, I was struggling to find time to write and to come up with ideas, and I had a tough day, and I just sat down on the couch, and my kid was happy playing at my feet, and I was just strumming on this guitar, and I came up with this idea in about 5 minutes, and I thought, it's pretty cool.
What part of the song was that idea?
Just that melody, do 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 do. Those little, and the few of the lyrics, the first part of the lyric and stuff.
So you get your phone out and you go. Oh, this is
Yeah,
gonna be-
I'm not really that. I don't really do too much of that, but just sort of enough to that I'm like, well, that's strong enough. That's a. So then I realized, well, wait a second, I don't need all these hours. I just need to work more efficiently with the time that I have. So I have 5 minutes, I have 10 minutes, I can write a song. So then I started basically writing songs all the time.
That's
Yeah.
fascinating,
Mm-hmm.
because it's almost like putting parameters around your creativity allows you to be more creative.
Yeah, I mean, of course, I'd love to have more time to play guitar and to play music. I enjoy doing it, but I'm just in that phase of life where there's a lot of other stuff happening. So it's nice to be able to still be creative and still feel like you're producing at a high level, even when you don't have the time to do it. And to that end, I think the songs are some of the most sort of direct and to the point songs that I've written, because there's just no time to really finesse over the things. Either it's elemental, either it feels good and it sounds good, or it doesn't, and I move on to the next idea.
Well, it being direct and to the point kind of leads me to this next track. Take a listen to this.
Bad boys need love.
Oh, I'm so psyched you guys are playing this track.
You know who I'm talking about.
Bad boys need love too.
You know who I'm talking about.
Bad boys need love too.
You know who I'm talking about.
Bad boys need love too.
You know who I'm talking about.
All the deadbeat dads and the kids that they had, the ones that's left behind, that's always up on their minds, to know that there's no excuse to leave a boy in his youth. And now that dirty secret's just some ugly truth. To be left all alone, to never pick up the phone. And all the things I learned, I guess I learned on my own. But what's done has been done, and now your only son wants to share the love with you he got from his mom. I said,
Bad boys need love too.
You know who I'm talking about.
Bad boys need love too.
You know who I'm talking about.
Bad boys.
Bad Boys Need Love Too by Bahamas.
Love it.
Preparing some songs from his new record Earthtones today. I got to ask about this. All the things I learned on my own. Seems like a very personal song.
Yeah, for sure.
What's it about? What's it about?
It started off as a song about my dad, and I grew up, just with my mom. My dad left before I was born, and I think I'm starting to realize I might have some daddy issues that I got to work through, and I'm going to use music to get it done. my mom was such a strong figure. She still is. She's such a strong presence that I wasn't really even aware of the fact that I sort of, didn't have this experience until much later in life, and more so now that I have kids of my own and stuff. It's you start to think about this stuff, and I think at first I realized that maybe I was carrying a lot of anger about this issue, about being abandoned and a lot of stuff that a lot of kids go through, But then I started to think like, well, the way to kind of deal with these bad boys, the way to deal with these guys is not to push them aside and just pretend like they don't exist and carry on with life, You actually have to reach out to that person and show them all the love that they didn't get when they were a kid. You know what I mean? Like you have to kill them with kindness in a way. And I think that that's kind of a timely message in a lot of ways, because it seems like right now we're doing tons of pointing fingers and trying to find who's responsible for all these different things. And I think we have to remember that the goal isn't to just separate the people who are good from the people who are bad. I mean, we're all in this together, We have to find a way to responsibly call people out and then at the same time give people an opportunity to rehabilitate themselves, to serve their time, whether it's to society or to to victims of whatever crime may have happened. And yeah, it's sort of, I just use my relationship with my dad basically as a jumping off point to this sort of like bigger
a song
idea,
about song about empathy in many
Yeah,
ways.
yeah.
Is your dad still around?
No, I mean I didn't really know him. I only saw him 3 times, and he died many years ago. He was a lot older than my mom, so. And yeah, he was a musician apparently. People always ask if there's a musician in my family, and I always say no. And then lately, I've started to realize, wait a second, he played the drums. I mean, maybe that means something.
Maybe there's something in there.
Yeah,
Yeah. I met your mom, by the way,
Yeah.
at the Junos a few years
oh,
ago.
dude, she's crazy.
Incredible,
about you.
incredible
She's crazy
person.
about you.
So how does having kids change the way you think about this? Was this a hard song to write like that?
It wasn't hard in that the lyrics just came naturally in the flow of the way the lyrics should come, and that was one that I wrote with just on the drums, just sang in the air and just sang that out like that. Bad boys need love too, and just played it like that, and didn't really purposely didn't try and figure out the chords because I thought it would be cool for the band to just jam on it. But yeah, I think it just we're always sort of pushing the ball forward in terms of human evolution and parenting and stuff. And there's so much pressure on parents now. And it's always been difficult, but I feel like now it's like there's so many apps and books and all these things telling you how you're supposed to do it.
Yeah.
And more, I just think the best thing that I can do for my kids is just to be the healthiest, best version of myself,
Yeah.
Because then they'll grow up seeing someone who's just healthy, and part of being healthy is dealing with your own demons and dealing with your own stuff. And we spend a lot of energy trying to, make ourselves a presentable version. So, yeah, I think putting energy into dealing with some of those things that I'm struggling with is definitely worth it for me and for my family and for everyone.
Well, you hear you're dealing with it on more than just that song. There's a song on the record called No Depression, which I thought was going to be like the Carter Family, Uncle Tupelo song.
Yeah.
And I was, he's doing a little bluegrass cover. And I turned it on, and it's this beautiful, again, funky song about dealing with depression.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I think that seems to be pretty common for creative people. I'm not sure why that is, but it seems like there's these real highs and lows that go along with the creative process for a lot of people, And I don't really like subscribe to the tortured artist idea. Like it's not about that. It's more just like I use music as therapy. I use music. It's my profession and it's my hobby. It's all these things for me, And part of that is just working out stuff, working it out with my past, with my wife, with my friends, and obviously with myself too, with my battling my own negative thoughts and stuff. So I'm lucky that I have music,
But it's funny because a lot of songs that are about depression, at least as far as I can tell, a lot of songs that are about depression sound like they're about depression. They're lo-fi.
Yeah, I can't do that.
Nebraska Bruce Springsteen kind of like I'm so sad, And not to, I don't want to give a hard time to those songs. Some of the most beautiful songs are about
Amazing.
that. But if there's a theme I'm finding on this record, it's that songs about about your father, who you call like a jerk dad,
Big time.
a song about depression,
Yeah.
a song about songs about real things that sound funky and danceable and kind of sexy at times.
Yeah.
Like, am I onto something
Oh,
here?
you're onto something. I mean, this is this is the subvertive nature of the product that we've designed. I mean, the guys at head office, they're just so smart. They send down these. We're selling these ideas to you under the guise of good times, but really, this music is going to get in there, and I think give people an opportunity to sort of discover their own stuff that they might be wrestling with.
It's a little bit of it's a little bit of sugar with the medicine.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. You gotta have the salt and the sweet. You know that popcorn they have around at Christmas time with the cheese and the caramel and everything.
Chicago mix.
Chicago mix.
Pretty
I never
good,
understood that.
Yeah.
It's available at the Dufferin Mall, Chicago. Yeah, it's just like it's nice to have a balance of a little bit of everything. It's
Because
nice.
if you go too one way, if you go two songs about depression, it may not have the same impact.
That has always been something that I would say all of my records kind of have both of those elements, and in the past I've referenced that Willie Nelson song. What the heck's it called now?
What one?
Oh man, maybe I didn't
Always
love-
on my mind.
Always on my mind.
Yeah.
That song, I was working with someone in the studio, and it was a French guy, and he said, it's a sad song, but it's full of love.
Oh man.
And I thought, that's an awesome idea, And I try to keep that in mind a lot, like even on Lost in the Light and some of the other tracks that I've made in the past. I just thought, like, the lyrics carry a lot of the weight as far as, like, the sadness. And so you don't need to put it in a minor key. You don't need to, exaggerate that. It's like that information comes across to people through the lyrics. And so the music can be sort of like a nice vehicle for that.
One more track, and not off the record. This is something completely different. Mitch, you got this?
Respect.
You. No.
Cut off football jersey. Slalom water ski. Coors Light in a koozie.
Well, way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
That is Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson. I'm speaking with Bahamas, and I play that for you because I've seen you cover that song.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Like Father John Misty show, maybe.
Wow, cool. Interesting.
And you've covered it.
I have. I did it like, I love all of that music. I love Alan Jackson's last record, Angels and Alcohol. I don't know if you guys rep that here, but
No, I got off Alan Jackson after that bluegrass record.
Dude, man, you got to check out his last one. It's a really good tracks. But anyway, Vince Gill, George Strait, like all that stuff. I just think that it's amazing. It's so well crafted and hilarious, and there's just a lot to like about it.
And you like it. So here's the reason I play it. Not because I wanted to play Alan Jackson for you,
Yeah.
but because, so I think about two songs you've covered stick out to mind. There's Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson, and there's Wonderful Tonight by Eric Clapton.
Okay.
I'll say this, songs I love,
Yeah.
not cool songs
Yeah.
to a lot of people.
No one else is doing it.
But I want to go back to something you said earlier in the interview where you said, I just want to get out of the idea that this is indie music or this is soul music. Or I just think it's just music. It's just music. And I feel like that's how you approach. I feel like there's something very telling about the covers you choose that shows how you approach music altogether.
Well, the whole idea of there being rules is silly to me. And I feel like when Robbie and I butt heads is because I'm like, there's no rules. We can do whatever we want. And he's like, well, we should do this, So, and he's a great temper for me because sometimes my ideas are just out to lunch. But that's why I guess I take so much inspiration from the hip hop world, because it does feel to me like, especially lyrically, they seem to be able to, rappers and artists in that genre, they seem to be able to sing about the times that we're living in, and my life and your life and our life collectively. They sing about social media and all these things that are seemingly hard to put into a song if you're a singer-songwriter with an acoustic guitar. People starting to shy away from that. They're more likely to respond to some guy wearing like a bowler hat and suspenders singing about freight trains and stuff like that than they are to the iPhone singing about the direct message in their pocket or whatever. You know what I mean? So that was very inspiring to me, and I just think, like, do whatever you want. Like, there's so many people out there doing a million different types of things. So if it feels good to me and it's fun, then that's reason enough. And if there's other reasons, then those are great too. But music is just like there's it's about that communal aspect, and frankly, it's like entertainment. At the end of the day, it's art, but it's also entertainment, you know. And it's fun.
And if you turn off, I find like if you turn off your preconceptions about what cool music is or what you're allowed to listen to, it's a better life. Like you can listen to Hotel California and forget that you hear it on the radio every single day and that your uncle liked it.
Yeah.
But it's a great song.
Absolutely.
You know, you can listen to Tony Rice, who's like a bluegrass guitarist that we both like. Maybe bluegrass isn't necessarily your thing, but this guy is very, very good.
Yeah,
and then
for
you can hear Petula Clark singing Downtown. Like I feel like you think about music that way. There's no good and bad music. There's just music.
And I think most artists, in their heart of hearts, probably think that way. You know, music is for everybody. It's for me. It's nice to when we play our shows. There's all types of people there. There's lots of young people, but there's
parents. I've seen parents at your shows.
My mom, "Bad Boys Need Love" is like my mom's favorite song right now. You know.
Oh, does she know what it's about though?
Oh, for sure. She was like weeping the first time I played it for her. You know, she's carrying her own demons that she's still trying to exorcise. You know, that's the thing. It's like life is short in many ways, but life is also very long.
Yeah. That must be really meaningful for you to have that song mean so much to your mom.
For sure. She's, I mean, it's slightly annoying and flattering at the same time, you know?
How is it annoying?
Well, just because she's always bugging me about it.
She always
like,
wanted to sing it?
if I didn't tell her I was coming in here today, but if I did, she was make sure they play Bad Boys.
Yeah,
make
right.
sure. I said, okay. Yeah. Anyway, it's just music should be for everyone, and it is for everyone, you know. And I think the machinery of the music industry, of course, like for the purposes of selling stuff to people, it's much easier to break it down into these sections and trying to find who it is that listens to it and put it in front of them in the right way.
And if you like country music, you're not allowed to like hip hop. If you like hip hop, you're not allowed to like jazz.
It seems like those rules, like young people seem less attached to those rules to me.
Well, think about it. When we were growing up, we had to go to record stores that had genres. If you're growing up now, you can literally get anything you want all the time.
Yeah. So I think, in some ways that's a positive thing. And obviously, there's probably smarter people than I can argue the negatives of the way that stuff is delivered now. But I think it seems like both ends. It seems like young people are open to everything. And also at some point you get old enough where it's like, well, I'm just going to wear sweatpants and a Christmas sweater and like a hat and a toque at the same time.
I'm going to listen to Alan Jackson.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's nice when you get to that point. And I'm not sure, but I'm hoping I'm there now. And if not, I'm hoping to get there in the next couple of years where it's just, the music can just be maybe even wackier, but also just like that much more accessible to more people,
Afie, thanks for coming in.
Yeah, right on. Thanks for having me.
I really enjoyed this.